Kong.
Godzilla, Kong. It's Godzilla X Kong, the new empire. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the spoiler room. Yes, we are here once again. And tonight we are doing something a little different. Usually, the wide release new films are handled by our Patreon, but this is Konga Line month. We're kicking off Konga Line month in that we're looking at Kong films all month. The ones we haven't covered on this show, we're covering this month. So prepare yourselves accordingly, folks. And tonight, it was so appropriate. This came out this past weekend, and it is Godzilla X Kong, the new empire. And I have a wonderful crewmate with me tonight. You may have seen her when we did our bonus episode on Imaginary. She's also been on my Patreon in the past. It is Katie Glidewell of The Blonde in Front. Hello, Katie. How are you?
I am Kong-rific and Godzilla smack to be on here to discuss Godzilla X Kong. I'm trying to pun it up as much as I can off the, seat of my pants. So let's see.
I love the puns. I love the puns. And thank you everyone for venturing down the stairs, pulling up a chair and popping your favorite drink as we talk movie spoilers. And yes, this film, man, if you hadn't seen the marketing for it, you must have been living under a rock. They did a heavy marketing push, especially within the last month. And here we are. It has hit theaters. And Katie, if you wouldn't mind, this is probably going to be pretty straightforward. What is the synopsis for Godzilla X Kong, the new empire?
Godzilla X Kong, the new empire has Kong. He is, which one's Kong? Kong's,
no. It's, nope, the other one. There you go. Yep.
Kong is a lonely boy.
He is lonely.
And, Shallow Earth. Mm-hmm. He's like eating his lizards. He's doing this. He's just living his life the best he can. And Godzilla's up top, just acting like a little kitten in the Coliseum, curled up, not bother anybody. And then Kong all of a sudden meets all these different apes. And it just is like an ape apocalypse, and stuff is going down. At that point, Godzilla is like, whoa, hold up. I think I need to do an eat, slay, absorb around the earth now, where I go to different cities, completely destroy them, and also absorb all of the nuclear energy, because there's a battle coming and I need to be ready. And when I get ready, I go from purple to pink. Neon pink.
Neon pink, yes.
Neon pink. Now, Kong has his own little thing going on, because the big bad down below is what I call Pete Davidson ape, which is also known as the Scar King, I guess.
Yes.
Because I guess the apes are talking. It's like, this is Scar King. It's like, really? Okay. But I just couldn't get off. It's like, for some reason, I'm like, why can I not? I don't understand why he's giving me something. I know it's CGI, but there's something, and it's like, oh, you kind of look like Pete Davidson. And I mean, hey, Scar King, he's got BTA, he's got big time energy. He's controlling all these people. He also has a little like slave titan. He's also controlling. That's again, I mean, he's the man down below. But, Kong and Godzilla have to work together with this mind meld, and stuff happens. There's a lot of bright colors. There's a lot of, I definitely think you should see this in IMAX, because, I mean, seriously, the vibrancy. It's like this green that's in our name. It's like that times 100, like all down below in Shallow Earth. And it's also one of those things that it reminds me a little bit of Boondock Saints, because there's a number of times where there was a Titan fight. And then you get this like WWE like tag team Titan energy, like boom. And it's like, I mean, if you like wrestling, if you like kaiju, if you like neon colors, if you like CGI, because honestly, 85% of this movie is CGI, then this is the movie you need to see. Like, I thought it was a lot of fun. It definitely has some issues with it, though. But I mean, for the most part, it's a damn good time. And what's interesting, I actually did a review for this yesterday, and I thought that the budget was $200 million for this.
Mhm.
No, it was actually 135 million for this one. Now that is $65 million less than Kong versus Godzilla, and I believe 50 million less than Kong Skull Island.
Mhm.
Here's the thing I noticed about when I was also doing the review yesterday, when I was comparing all the different films. This film honestly has the least star power. And when I say that, I do not mean that the people who are the actors I mean, Rebecca Hall, Dan Stevens, Brian Tyree Henry. Look, you guys are aces, believe me. However, they're the three main people. Like, I know who they are. Mark, you know who they are. That's basically kind of it regarding the star power. And that's like 7 to 6 people less than any of the other films before that. That to me worries me greatly because this is all, like I said, the majority of it is CGI.
Mhm.
And what the other thing is that it's $135 million. It's already made worldwide. It grossed what I think 195, and in
Yeah.
the US alone, it was like 80 million, which is more than like 3 of the other ones. So I was like, I mean, what do you do? Like, as soon as I watch this movie, all I want to do is like, I wish I was with my nephews. I wish I was with my nephews because this is just like, I don't know, just like all the wrestling and the roughhousing. It's like, ooh, 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 ooh. And it's like, I don't know, Kong is like this Jason Statham, like Gene Hackman, kind of like angry grandpa, kind of get off my lawn. It's like, yet I'm lonely. And it's like, I don't know. It's like, are you the ape version of Up? Like, what's going on? And yet it's like he wants to be, it seems like he's alone and he kind of wants to be with apes, but at the same time, maybe not, because it's like when he does see some apes, I don't feel like he's really all that enthused. Like, hey guys, what's like, dude, who are you? Well, what are you doing? And yeah, Pete Davidson ape though really had some swagger to him. Godzilla, some of the best fights I've seen Godzilla ever do. I mean, obviously Kong Godzilla, they're always going to have their issues, yet they have to come together and like fight the bigger bad, and they realize that. It also had, as Mark and I were discussing earlier, I'm wearing my Ace Ventura wannabe outfit that Dan Stevens, who this is another world. He is a Titan veterinarian. Okay.
Sure. Why not?
I mean, look, this is a world that has Titans, so it's like, who knows what can happen? I could go to Mothra University. I'll be a part of the Mothra Mamas, get my DMD, in Titan dentistry and stuff like that, and then perform an implant on King Kong. That's not how that works. I work for a dentist, and that's not how that works, any of it. But that's fine. That's fine. Whatever you guys want to do, we have a giant ape. Am I going to really complain about you putting in an implant tooth and whatever? You guys are on your own. I don't know.
I love how that opened too. It opened with Kong with a sore tooth that he comes through the Hollow Earth the portal, and Godzilla is keeping some Titans in check, and I love the world that we're at now with the legendary MonsterVerse, because while the critics have not enjoyed this film that much, with like a 52% or something on Rotten Tomatoes for critics, there's a 92% as of yesterday and afternoon with the audience. This film, this film is it knows exactly what it is. It embraces it. I love seeing big budget studios go all in on crazy concepts like this, and just like total abandon, like, here you go. Okay, we've got Kong. Kong goes down even further in Hollow Earth, and we've got a whole nother level of Hollow Earth where these apes have been living. And oh yeah, that lost civilization that was on Kong Island. Guess what? They ain't that lost because we discover them. Kaylee Hoddle is back as Gia
Yes.
as her third time as this character. I think is it her third time? Yeah, it's her third time.
Yeah.
And it was great seeing her. I love this character quite a bit. And the whole sign language thing and everything, she's connected with Kong still. I'm like, oh, this is the thing is what people I think were missing, those who were kind of being critical about this film is not intended to be in the same universe as Godzilla -1.
No.
This is its own thing. But if you've seen the older, as it's mentioned, Showa era Godzilla films, especially mid to late Godzilla, where you just got the monster of the week in the films and the people took a sideline, and your destruction, okay, their collateral damage, whatever. That's exactly how those films were. So they've embraced that spirit, and it's really come to an apex here, no pun intended, with Godzilla X Kong. And I loved it. I had fun with it. And I think audiences are missing that. I mean, like you said, we literally have Kong with a bad tooth, and he gets a replacement tooth. Which, though, Katie, I'm not sure how you felt. I thought it was interesting that actually plays a little into the plot when Kong meets up with Scar King.
Yes, and I, for one, was like, so, since we're in the spoiler room, yeah. When Kong meets up with Scar King actually points out with grunts and, ooh, ooh, ah, ah, and stuff like that, points out to the fact that Kong has an implant, like titanium implant tooth. And I'm like, I'm sorry, is he getting bullied for his dental work and stuff like that? Is this where we're at now in the kaiju universe and whatnot? Like, what is going on? And then later on, what happens? Scar King loses a tooth. Oh, that's what you get. That's what you get, Scar King. That's what you get. I hope the Tooth Fairy does not give you anything because you were just mean and bullying Kong. And it's like, at least he has something in there. Like, it's not going to affect his bite long term for however many decades, centuries, whatever he works. So that's what you get, Scar King. For me, I liked the movie. I thought it was a fun time. Again, this is the kind of thing. It's like, I think it was genius to have it come out on the majority of the nation's spring break. Because I guarantee you that's why if they would have had this come out on Wednesday, I think it probably would have made 110 million. Like, honestly. But having it come out on Friday during spring break, have the kids see it, all this stuff. Again, the wrestling, I think, is that. But I am a fan. I'm also a critic, because let's talk about the thing that was the ear sore that was going on in the film that just perplexed me to no end. Godzilla versus Kong had a beautiful score, all this stuff. Kong Skull Island had, great, all that, it's set in the 60s. So guess what you're going to have? A lot of CCR, a lot of songs that we are very familiar with because it's during the late 60s, early 70s. Like, hey, these are the sounds you love to listen to. And then you have Godzilla X Kong, and it's like, those sounds, those songs that are familiar, the ones you love and, always make you tap your toes. Well, we don't have those, but we do have ones that don't really go with the movie and are very awkward. And you may not have honestly probably heard some of them before, and then maybe you do, and it's like, this doesn't really, what's happening here? Why are you putting in these songs in this film? This film didn't need these songs. Like, what? And that to me was like, I don't know. What are you guys trying to do? Are you trying to like do the James Gunn thing? And it's like, because this is bad. This is done very badly. It was one of the biggest like disappointments that I had, and the biggest negative is like, this music is horrible.
The score was great when you could hear it, but the needle drops, absolutely, I agree, were some odd choices, and maybe that's where they saved some of their money was choosing those needle drops over others. But you're right, this is a film that didn't need it, though I know why they put it in there because it's kind of associated with Kong a bit. It's kind of like with Guardians of the Galaxy showing up in the Marvel universe, not in their movie. They still have some kind of classic rock song playing. So I think that's what they were trying to go for here was that you got Kong in here, and Kong Skull Island had the needle drops, and even in Kong versus Godzilla, which I just finished watching like today. I watched again because that's a fun movie too. But their needle drops showed up when Kong was there. Here, I think they felt the need to do it again, but I wish they kind of wouldn't have because I was digging the score and I'm a big instrumental guy, and I think there was opportunities to really fill in some great scores rather than have these needle drops, like you said, are going to be a bit more obscure and having people Google the shit afterwards or SoundHound. Like, what song is this? Oh, yeah.
Well, and it seems like most of the needle drops happened with Titan Veterinarian. It's like Dan Stevens, I think, had 3. Mm-hmm. And one of them being I Was Made for Loving You, when he's like when he's like in one of the Monarch ships and he's like leading this flock of birds. And I was like, I like this song, but I have no idea why they thought this would be the song to. Did I miss it? Did you like put pheromones on the Monarch ship and they're like following you because they're in heat or something? Because that would have been funny. Like that. Did I miss that? But
I think it might have been it might have been implied. I'm wondering if there was something cut that would have applied to it, but they were trying to go for I don't know what. But yeah, you're right. It they don't set it up, so when that drops, you're just like, okay.
I love Kiss, but I don't understand why
that song. Yeah, that song in particular.
This song on that.
Yeah,
it's like I don't know. You just might as well have played Beth, and I would have been like, okay, I guess. I mean, go Kiss. Yeah, I don't understand why. I personally also would have liked to have seen, Titan University with Titan Vet University and see how I mean, is it in theory that they're able to work on all these Titans? Because I feel like you can't knock them. I don't know. There's just so many questions there that I was like, oh, what's the curriculum? Like, how do you get in? Like, I mean, do you have to work like on big animals? And it's like, let's do Titan University. I don't know. There was so much stuff with that, but the whole thing with the implant tooth, I was like, okay, you just take it out and he could just not have a tooth. I mean, that would have been fine too. I mean, he's a giant Kong, but I don't know. I just love that, when they had the tag team matches between Kong Godzilla and Scar King and his little
Frozen Titan. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that was great. But another thing about this film is that it really does make me want to travel the world before these locations get completely pulverized by radiation.
Yeah, because Tokyo's been leveled, and now Rio's been.
And you've got Godzilla just like again
going through Rome
in the Colosseum, and he's been eating a hell of a lot of nuclear energy, aka that will be emitting off him like a heartbeat. So yeah, no one's going to Rome anymore. No one's going to be going there anytime soon.
He did dispel a lot of it, so we're good there. But I this is like, I saw someone mention it, and I'll agree as well. Even though it's called Godzilla X Kong, this is more like Captain America's Civil War. In that, in many ways, in that, yes, you have Godzilla in the title, but it's more about Kong. Just like, it was Captain America's Civil War, but it was 3/4 about the Avengers and Iron Man more so than Captain America. Not that I'm complaining. I loved this film. You're right with the wrestling. When they pulled out the wrestling moves, I'm like, I just sat back and go, I'm loving this movie. It's completely ridiculous, but at the same time, I'm like, I can't believe they did that. And then I'm also like, I love that they did that because they're like just throwing the kitchen sink into this film because Kong, when he meets up with the Scar King, he's like, he's seeing the Scar King because you learn that the Scar King has kind of enslaved Kong's race to uh, gather materials because Scar King wants to go back to the surface because Scar King was on the surface where the humans were. Godzilla came, he boosted himself up, kicked them all down to the hollow earth and they got trapped by the humans in this volcano bad guy lair. Which is like completely bad guy layer, complete with lava waterfall. It's beautiful. And so Scar King wants to get back up, and that's why he's enslaved the rest of the ape, that are left to build this material so he can get back up to the earth. That's his motivation. And Kong is fighting him, and he's like, "You're treating my people wrong. I'm going to beat you." And then he's getting attacked, and he takes the baby Kong. This is one of the favorite sequences. Kong goes down there, and baby Kong lures him, so he gets jumped by these folks these other apes who work for Scar King. And so at one point, Kong picks up the baby Kong and just starts beating the other gorillas.
Yeah. Which baby Kong deserved it. I mean, it's like I was watching, it's like, oh, you were totally setting him up to get jumped. It's like, why are you doing that? And then, as you say that, it's like I'm realizing, honestly, there's so many things about this film that I'm just now, my nostalgia kicked in that triggers me back to Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And how Kong is very much like Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to like release these people and all that stuff. He gets, although he doesn't, have try and get his heart sucked out and stuff like that. Also, there is no love interest for Kong, and I honestly did not see, or I couldn't tell where there were any sort of love interest. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of apes down there, so something's going on. But I don't know where those ladies are at, but they're just not. It's like, you guys do that, we're gonna be over here.
Well, Scar King was, he's he's like the king of the volcano area, and he's got some of his gorilla ladies there. And actually, they don't say it, but the fact that he has fur similar to Scar King makes me wonder if the baby gorilla was actually one of Scar King's kids. Even though they don't say it. And that's the one thing I love is, yes, the humans, they've got a storyline in here and it kind of integrates, but it is really mainly about the kaiju.
Yes.
But what I'm going to say it right now, and I know this is going to be a bold statement, but I'm going to say they gave the apes some great personalities with the fact that they're not speaking any actual dialogue. All these apes are emoting, and with the way the special effects were, you're like hearing dialogue in your head for these apes who are just grunting and beating the crap out of each other. And I love that. Love that from the look that, especially Kong. I don't know who they got or what motion capture they used for Kong, but it was far better than what we saw. But of course, it's like 18 years ago, Peter Jackson's or whatever Kong. It was like, he has such a personality. Even Godzilla had a personality. We get this wonderful scene before we get to when Kong wants to recruit Godzilla. The other thing that I thought was good, Katie, is the fact as ridiculous as it might seem, they at least, as far as the logic within the film goes, set up the reason why Kong has the glove.
Yes.
He doesn't just have the glove to have the glove. His hand gets frozen because he takes on this very ancient titan that Scar King is controlling that does frost. So he has frost damage on his hand. So this glove that Monarch was developing to help give Kong an advantage because they know Godzilla could, head-to-head fight. We know Godzilla will kick his ass. So they give him, they were inventing this glove to kind of give to him. So they give it to him, and he uses that. And I love the fact that they have, within the logic of the film, a reason why he has the glove.
Yeah.
They didn't just give him the glove. It's serving a purpose, as ridiculous as it might seem, it still worked. It worked for me. I'm like,
I mean, he's got the glove, he's got his axe, and then Scar King has I like it how he almost has like a button that he put. What is it that he's using?
It was a jewel, I think, or not a jewel. It was a horn. I honestly think, even though they don't say it, it looked just like the horns on the ancient Frost Titan, whose name I forget escapes me. I'm sorry, folks, but he uses that, and I think it's implied that that's how he's controlling it because it's a piece of the Titan. So he's using that.
And I mean, talking about the humans, it's nice that Gia actually has in this film much more central focus than honestly, and other than Trapper and his idiocy with these like wild, crazy. And I have to say, Trapper's the guy who's the Titan orthodontist or dentist, whatnot. While I was watching it, it's like, God, I can't think of who he reminds me of. And then they say it's like, look, you Ace Ventura wannabe, and I'm like, that's it. Thank you.
There you go.
Read my mind. I couldn't think of it, but it's like, but okay, so Ace Ventura is in this universe, and yet there's also Titans. I'm like, okay, whatever.
You can't think too hard. I also like the fact that you have Bernie Hayes' character back, Brian Tyree Henry, who I loved in Godzilla versus Kong. He's back as his character, and he ends up getting tied up with Monarch. And we learned some of the fallout that happened from the previous film, which I enjoyed. The fact he added some fun comedy. But you're right, Gia gets. Not only does she get a character arc, she gets to be badass because she gets to awake. She gets to awake. Yes, folks, this is the spoiler room. If you don't want to hear now, though it was leaked already to the internet, I don't care. I was so happy they brought back Mothra. I was so happy they brought back Mothra. And it made sense of why they brought her back, because we get to the point where Kong comes up from Hollow Earth, and Godzilla, he's been supercharging himself, he's been sucking on nuclear power plants, and he took out Tiamat and sucked the energy out of Tiamat, and he's
slay, absorb all day, every day.
He's all taking his final form and shit. And so then, Kong comes up out of the Hollow Earth, and he's like, there's this beautiful scene where Godzilla shows up on a hill, and Kong's like, he starts charging Kong, and Kong's got his hand out towards the portal. He's like, hey, man. And it's where, like I said, the emoting on Kong, I don't know what motion capture they used, but thank you, because you literally hear him going, dude, no, wait, we gotta go now. And Godzilla runs into him, and they start fighting. I think Kong suplexes Godzilla.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, again, going back to nostalgia, I'm like a kid in 1985 watching wrestling, all this stuff. And I mean, that's what was going on. It's like in these before, it was more the like charging and all stuff. This was full on like wrestling moves that I had not seen. It's like, oh man, this is like Junkyard Dog and Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant, like going at it in a cage match in 1985. It's like, again, who is this? It's like, it's made for the kids. It's made for the Gen X. I see what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone's seen Godzilla versus Megalon, wrestling is not a stranger to Godzilla world at all. And then we have Mothra, and I love how they brought Mothra back, because that's consistent within the Godzilla universe, because Mothra is always reincarnated and always reborn. She never really died. She keeps coming back eventually. And we have her here thanks to Gia. Mm-hmm. And Mothra is the one that bitch slaps both Godzilla and Kong and go, yo, you two assholes got to work together.
Yeah.
Because
Like, grow the F up. What are we really fighting about? You understand? Now go and do what you got to do.
and regardless of what people might say about Adam Wingard, he manages to direct, or whoever the special effects director was for this, manages to convey ideas enough without any dialogue between the monsters that you know what's going on.
Yeah.
I it's just the way it's edited and controlled, and I loved that bit, you know, and you understand completely what the creatures are doing, our kaiju doing. And then yeah, we get our big huge battle, which the humans kind of help at the end until they get to Rio, and then they annihilate Rio, and they're
Yeah.
just it's all out action. But I it's so much fun. I'm watching it, and not at any point did I go, man, is this just really stupid? I was like a kid again. I'm just watching this going, this is awesome. I'm not thinking about, wow, they leveled Rio, and how many hundreds of thousands of people are dying and getting injured. I'm not thinking of that, because if you watch those Showa era films, those later ones, you're not thinking of that either. Godzilla and the monsters are annihilating villages left and right, and they're just set pieces.
See, and here's the thing, kids. I was thinking about that because all I see is like, damn, no one's gonna visit Rio again for like 100 years. Damn, there goes well, now I'm not gonna visit Rome. And I think there's a place in France where Godzilla somewhere. He again, he does this like European tour where it's like, let's go get some nuclear power and just destroy the city because I gotta kill this Pete Davidson ape. And it's I'm just watching this like, well, I gotta visit that before those Titans come. Gotta visit that too. I mean, if anything, it makes you want to visit these places before this is a possibility of stuff happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Because and the humans are such a small part of this film.
They are.
It's kind of scary to me that it's like how insignificant the humans really are. Although Gia and the Lost City,
Tribe, yeah.
I mean, beautiful, and I mean, that's the CGI in this. Honestly, it can be hit or miss, but when you're in like Shallow Earth, that's one of the things I loved about Godzilla versus Kong, and like when they first took him there and stuff like that. It's like, holy mackerel. Like, this is a feast for the eyes. Like, and then when you get the neon colors, it's like, oh yeah.
You get the neon emerald jewels and this jeweled temple, and the imagery. And that's the thing is, Adam Wingard manages to make this such a visual spectacle that I was okay with its weaknesses in other areas, because I'm a big visual guy. Because film is visual media, and if you entertain me visually, you've got me half the battle won already. And in this one, this is I never thought, even when we got the first Godzilla and we got Pacific Rim, I never thought we would have a regular series of kaiju movies. They were always regulated to TV and cable and from Toho and imports and that. So the fact that we're sitting here now like 10 years, 10, 20, and we've got like 4 or 5, we got 5 kaiju films, and yeah, it touched the child, the child heart in me, and I was just having so much fun. And my son, who's 20 something, he was having fun with this film. And the one thing I think people are missing is that they don't all have to be Godzilla -1. I loved Godzilla -1. It was probably tied for my favorite of the films last year. And this one, these both can exist in our cinematic and our regular real world, and you can enjoy both for different reasons.
Well, I mean, I think there's a reason why Godzilla -1 came out before the Oscars, and Godzilla X Kong came out during spring break.
Oh yeah.
There's what are we trying to say here? One, is Oscar worthy, and lo and behold, won an Oscar.
Yeah.
This is just a freaking cash cow that we're gonna go to the mart of the wall and pick up all the things that you can pick up, because they're one of a kind, 5 million sold, and all that stuff. I mean, it's there's no way that I take this film seriously.
No.
But sometimes you just want to have fun at the movies. And to me, this was dumb fun. I feel like there's a lot of films this year that have just been like fun. Some of them have been really, really dumb. But this is one of those that I feel like was fun. And Mark, like I said to you, I mean, the fan in me, it's like, yeah, this is a movie I want to go take my nephews. The critic in me, god damn, there's some stupid stuff in here that just is just bad, that doesn't make any sense. That also scares me, that it's, again, 85% CGI. You've got limited star power, and it also seems like it's done at a lower fee, and it's making more money than possibly the ones that cost a lot more, which can have some repercussions, I feel like, down the line, that I really hope doesn't happen. Then I don't want to say out loud.
Well, there is talk already, because this made such money its opening weekend. Folks, domestically, Godzilla, get this, Dune Part 2, the most probably anticipated sci-fi film of the year for many people, the cerebral, oh my God, it's great. We've talked about it. I loved it. Godzilla X Kong made $2 million less than Dune Part 2 did its opening weekend. $2 million less.
That does not surprise me. Again, Dune Part 2 came out a week before the Oscars, and I've said this in a review. I think that was Warner Brothers doing it. It's like, oh yeah, the Oscars, that's next week. Oh yeah, here's this. What do you think this is going to win next year? It's like, wow, that's some big DE you're putting out the week before the Oscars. It's like, and that's for all of the cinephiles who, I mean, I've said this. Right now, Dune Part 2, I don't see how that can be beat. I know it only came out in March, but it's like, that was a spectacle. And so, I mean, it's speechless what that did on the screen. I've seen it twice, and I would see it again. It's just an experience that, you don't have. And I'm glad they did it this year, so we could have had the ones that we had last year. But Kong is just dumb fun with apes and lizards and moths and who knows kind of things, and Pete Davidson looking apes that are like, doing stuff, and neon colors that I loved. But it is a sight for the eyes. It's dumb fun for, I think, less than 2 hours, which and it's for a whole, I mean, again, having it come out spring break, it's like, nice, you guys. That's so smart. Although I think, again, if they had it on Wednesday, it probably would have made even more money. Yeah, it's all about when you have things that come out. Like, I remember when Ridley Scott was having such a fit regarding that movie he had with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck and stuff like that. It's like, people don't want to go to the movies anymore. People don't want to do this. And I'm the one who was like, what you don't do is you don't do a period epic in the middle of October and expect people to be going. This is Halloween season. You do that in September or November. Don't blame that people don't no, it's like they want to see horror in October. This is all about the opening weekend. And when you do it, you're stupid to have a period piece in the middle of October that has nothing to do with that. And it looks like now these studios are actually taking into account. It's like, look, this is the way to do this. This is the way to do this, which, I mean, they've been doing it with the summer blockbusters all this time. You got to know when to hold them and when to fold them. And when these kids are going to go see it, or when Gen Xers and people who actually go to the movies, want to go see these films.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned it because the audience. I don't remember there's very few films ever since the pandemic that I've gotten a lot like a in my small city of Stevens Point where we've gotten a lot of Thursday showings where we had a large amount of audience. Usually it's sparse for a Thursday
Mhm.
night regardless of how big the movie is. This one had a substantial audience, and that audience, about a third of it were kids. Parents brought their kids to it, which was hilarious because you know how trailers aren't always planned out. Uh,
Yes.
uh, they showed the trailer for Abigail before. It was great. I looked behind me and there was this mom and dad and their two kids, and they literally had their kids holding their ears and they had covered their eyes for the Abigail trailer. And I'm like, oh, good call. Good call. Don't be 80s parents and just say, yeah, just deal with it. Suck it up, Buttercup. But what one thing
Or
that is,
be 80s parents. I say be 80s
or
parents.
be 80s parents, one way or the other.
Believe me, we know a
Yeah.
lot more than we're letting on, kids.
Oh, yeah. But what's gotten me in on my news feed, other my other friends in that who have mentioned it, one, they said their audience was pretty packed for the showing, obviously by the box office showing, but many of them said the exact they experienced the exact same thing we did at the end of our Thursday night showing. Was there was applause. There were
Yeah.
people who clapped at the end of Godzilla X Kong, and people may go, well, what the hell? I'm like, and you know this as a critic, there are films that are made technically and story-wise and everything that are like best picture Oscar, like, you know, they're really well crafted, you know, they're solid films, make you think and everything. But then there are those films that we need, I think, occasionally that are just made surely for entertainment value. I think you touched on it earlier, Katie. You said that it's dumb fun, that it's not taking itself seriously. You couldn't
Yeah.
take it so. The filmmakers aren't taking this film seriously. They're having fun making a monster film and seeing what they can get away with, what the studio will let them do. And by God, yes, the studio is going to have them level Rio in an all-out pin anywhere match between the Ice Titan and Godzilla and Kong and Scar King in this wonderful. And that's the thing, these action sequences are choreographed and are shot wide, and you can tell what's going on. You can see who's hitting who. It's like I'm watching this going, this is amazing. It is dumb, but at the same time, I'm having so much fun because um, the whole audience was into it. Everybody was just having fun watching big monsters beat the crap out of each other, and they realized that's kind of what people want to see
Yeah.
sometimes, you know. And there's not, the thing is, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you are a critic whose opinion I very much value, and you've said it too. Sometimes you just need that fun movie, right?
Yes. Sometimes you need to just scrub your brain. Sometimes, and honestly, sometimes the world around us right now, I actually, as I said, I did a podcast last night, and while we were recording, there was something that came up in my feed from People Magazine that I am an aficionado on horror. Horror is my genre, all that stuff. The thing that I read was so despicable and disturbing that I was like, you know what? This is worse than any film, anything I will ever see. And you know what? Sometimes you just need to go to the movies to get away from what the reality of this world is. And this is one of those. This is one of those films. It's again, dumb fun, neon colors. You know what? I think it would be a great. I think it would be a great double feature with the Iron Claw. Now that I think about it, with all the tag teaming and all that stuff. I mean, you know, it's all I could think about was 80s wrestling and stuff like that with these like giant titans and stuff like, and it's just nice to just be absorbed in the theater, like the colors, the visuals. Yeah, the music was crap. The music, I cannot get it beyond them. I mean, it just really, I wish they had gone back to the score of several of them past or had
Yeah.
the music supervisor. But again, I don't know if this is just knocking it down with the Monies or all that stuff. I did bring to my attention a new Al Green song that I was not aware of. I feel like it was kind of like on a B side that I'm like, I don't
I but
I mean, it's fine. It again was just kind of weird when it was used.
it was weird. Like I said, the needle drops, I totally agree with you, were weird, but it didn't take me out of the film. And it's one of those things where you just sit down, and when you realize that this film knows what it is, embraces it, amps it to 11, and says, you know what, we're just
11.
yeah, 11,
11.
for sure. And we're just going to shoot for the bleachers and we'll see what sticks, figuring if this bombs, we've had 5 good films. If this hits, we can keep going. I mean, I think that's kind of the stipulation with Toho, is it's these films are making Toho enough money as well because of licensing, that they're just like, yeah, okay, you can make another one. Yeah, go ahead. It's not going to be within the same universe as our films, but go ahead, have fun. It's making us some cha-ching.
Well, and like I said at the beginning, I mean, they did this for 65, 50, $85 million less than the films ahead of it. And yet it had an opening box office weekend that was
insane.
3 times as much as them in the past. I mean, that is insane. But it's also the fact that people want to go back to the movies. They want to go back to escape whatever is going on. Like, who knows what the weather was like in anywhere in the nation, because you've got spring, you've got fake spring, you've got second spring, you've got like
second winter. We got second winter right now.
It's like spring redo, and and then it's like right now it's 40 degrees and it was like pouring down rain. It's supposed to snow on Wednesday. Thanks, Chicago. This is spring.
We had snow today. We've got snow today here in Wisconsin. So, yeah, it's, and I think people are realizing there's room for both. There's room for your serious films, but there's also room, once again, for these fun escapism popcorn film. This is if you want a true and tried definition of what a popcorn film is, right here. Yes. Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire, is completely 100% a popcorn film. It is made for you to go in, just let go, and enjoy the wildness on the screen. And that's the thing, is everybody in here seemed to be having fun. I didn't feel like any of the actors were like, oh, we're just, we're not. Everybody seemed to like they were just all in on this film.
Although Brian Tyree Henry, it's one of those tropes with I really wish they would stop the characters that when they're in situations like, I'm in shallow earth and I'm going to yell because there's creatures all around me and they're going to kill me. And it's like, then why are you yelling? Then why do you think that the creatures like can't hear you, or you want them to come to you sooner? Because it's like, what are we doing? Like, you've seen a number of these creatures. Like, I get it, you're scared, but shut up. Like, I don't know. I think it's an age thing. It's like sometimes it's like I was rewatching something and like the teenager just wouldn't stop talking. I was like, oh my God, it is the apocalypse. You just shut up. It's like, stop talking so much. It's like they're clicker clackers that are gonna like eat you, and it's like all you want to do is like, what's this? It's like, shut up and stop yelling and screaming, because it's like, guess what? You yelling and screaming isn't going to stop the monsters from coming. It's going to make them come to you.
I will say I'm impressed with my audience, because even though we had kids in the audience, they were quiet during the movie. They were talking during the trailers. I'm like, okay. But when the movie started, they were engrossed in the film of the creature, the big ape, the baby ape, the fights, it captivated them. And
Yeah.
if you want to talk about maybe a kaiju gateway film, this is a kaiju gateway film in many respects. If you want them to see if maybe they want to explore the other Showa era Godzilla films, show them this one, because if they're into this one, you're like, well, since you enjoyed that one, let's check out maybe this one, or some others. So I guess your final thought with this, Katie. Do you think that it is worth going to the theater for?
Yes, as long as you go to an IMAX theater. Now, I went to a press screening where it was not IMAX, it was not Dolby. And while I was watching it, I even wrote down, like, I feel like this is being wasted. Like, I know these images are supposed to be so vibrant, because even as I'm watching this on a regular screen, I'm like, I know this could be more. And it's honestly annoying me that they didn't show it firstly to critics in IMAX. There was a screening afterwards in IMAX that I wasn't able to attend, but I told everyone that I know, it's like, look, see this in IMAX, because honestly, it's visually captivating. Some of the CGI is great, some of it's not. Some of it is like, holy mother. Like, this is wow. And those are the moments that even if they're few and far between, you want that. And I definitely think this is a film to see in the theater. It does it makes me sad, though, that there are so many people that I saw going to the theater this weekend. And it's like, I think they saw either Immaculate or Late Night with the Devil. And you know what? Good for Godzilla X Kong that they made all the movies, because I know with those other movies, it's like, here I am in this empty theater and this is it. It's like, well, I guess everyone went and saw Godzilla X Kong, because believe me, there's enough people on my feed who had some empty theaters with the other ones. But I say at least see it once and see it in IMAX to really appreciate like all the visuals that it has to offer. As a critic, I think Dan Stevens' character was a bit ridiculous, and just kind of like that old, it's not like he was sexually harassing or anything like that, but he just had that like, hey, I'm the cool guy and this, and I don't know, I feel like he should have been like flying like a plane most of the time, and like, with that little hat on with this shirt and doing that thing. But I mean, he was ridiculous and fun. Rebecca Hall, to me, she could do no wrong. Like, honestly, I'm just waiting for her to collect 18 jillion Oscars for the amazing actress, director, everything that she is. I mean, honestly, if you want to see something that's cerebral and all for the cinephiles, go look at her, like what she's done, because she has done some of the best performances of the year. Directed one of the best movies in the past 3 years that didn't get the recognition that it should have. And I mean, she does the Kong movies, or the Godzilla Kong. Well, no, I guess the Kong movies, because she's more about Kong than Godzilla. So whatever she needs to do to keep doing the other things that I know, hopefully she will get the awards for. And then Brian Tyree Henry. I mean, I love him. And all the work that he's done in the past. I just wish he would stop being that character that yells when they're freaking out, because it's like, oh wait, there's a monster in shallow earth. How did that happen? What? Yeah, I get it. Okay. But no, this is a film that was meant to be seen in a big theater. Go and see it with people who enjoy the nostalgia of wrestling and some of the movies that I mentioned that I realized really I think they took away from to do this film, and see it with kids who, again, they're love wrestling and can enjoy and maybe watch Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom after this, and see if you think I'm right.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. See this in a theater. This is one of those where the visuals are made to be seen on a biggest screen possible. You could tell the way they shot it that it was intended for that. There's some wild shots for a kaiju film, just some amazing visuals, colors, and everything. And it's not meant to be serious, but the filmmakers realize it's not meant to be serious. And I think if you go into that, just grab your popcorn. And yeah, if you've got younger folks in your, preteens and teens and that are, kind of like your monster films or wrestling, take them to this because it's got that same energy. The film moves. The film has got enough action set pieces to where it moves right along. Even when we get exposition, there's fight scenes while there's exposition going on. So it's moving. And I would just say mad props for Adam Wingard giving Mothra a proper treatment, because Mothra looks gorgeous again in this film. Mothra is just amazingly beautiful kaiju in all three of these films. Just amazing. And it was great to see them bring her back. And yeah, I'd say the only thing is maybe, Godzilla does take a little bit of a sideline. As we mentioned, this is kind of like Captain America, which was Avengers 2.0, Captain America Civil War. I would have liked a little better sound design with Godzilla. They seemed to lack sound, or just the sound design in general compared to a couple of the other films. The Godzilla sound design could have been better for sure. And yeah, the needle drops, but I mean it's all minor. None of it took away from my entertainment. And it's just fun. You need something to get away from the real world and cut yourself off from politics and all the heavy stuff going on. Go into
everything. Yeah.
Get yourself a big ass soda with big ass popcorn and watch big ass monsters fight each other for 2 hours. And at the end, I guarantee you'll probably have some applause by some people, because almost every single person I've talked to or who has posted online said, yeah, we're watching it, and at the end of the movie, people applauded. People are like, it's like, so whatever formula they found with this film, it hits with the audience, even if it doesn't hit with the critics. And so there you have it, folks. So thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed this discussion of Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire, as we kick off our Konga Line month. And Katie's got some wonderful figures there. Those are beautiful. I don't have enough King Kong and Godzilla merch. I need to get more of that. I just have the vinyl. But
again, from the Mart of Wall.
from the Mart of Wall, yes.
Where you can pick up the memorabilia of a monster film of Titanic proportions.
Oh, nice.
I just made that up.
Yeah, that was good. Maybe they should hire you to do their marketing.
Maybe they should. Maybe they should help. I was gonna try and like name drop some of the people for the visual effects. There's 430 people that were listed. So I'm like, visual effects, good for you.
Just visual effects department.
Visual effects team. There you go.
There you go.
Good job.
So thank you, Katie. This is where I give my crew members their license to shill. So please let folks know where they can find all your wonderful content at.
You can find me on The Blonde in Front on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and my website, theblondeinfront.com. And I'm always there talking about anniversaries of films, classic and new, and new films that are coming out. I've got 3 screenings this week. Woo. And 2 next week.
Yeah, that backlog of movies and delayed of releases is finally unleashing itself in April, which is another good reason why Godzilla X Kong released this past week, because there was really no other competition whatsoever for it.
Again, genius. You guys know when to do the release date. It's all about the date. You gotta,
it is. It is all about the date. It's the same reason when they released, what was it, Super Mario Brothers, when they released it, which was like during last year. Was that during spring break, or was that?
It was during spring break.
That was during spring break as well. It's like almost a year ago. they released Super Mario Brothers, and that was a smart thing because Super Mario Brothers was like 90 some minutes, and it was released just before spring break. It's like, there you go.
There you go. No matter where you are around the country, it's like, let's go this place. Let's see a movie because it's probably going to be cheaper than doing any of the other things you're doing. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't have kids, but also it's something for an hour and a half where mom can sleep and the kids can watch the movie, you know.
Exactly. And yes, folks, stay with us. Make sure you're subscribing, all that, for Konga Line Month coming up. We are watching Kong films. So next week we will have our rated PC for pre-code special where we're looking at King Kong 1933. Then we're looking at King Kong 2005. Then we'll be looking at King Kong Lives from 1986 and rounding it out with the original King Kong versus Godzilla, where if we can get our crew together and see both versions, we'll be talking about the difference between the US release and the Japanese release of King Kong versus Godzilla, because it is a very interesting difference between the two. So stick around for that, folks. Check out Katie's stuff. And until next time, we'll just say a good night, everyone.
Good night.